everybody, it's Robin with Robin's Stampin' Hood. Sorry I'm a few minutes late here. I'm going to just hang out for a second and... Stampin' Hood, sorry that's loud. Hi everybody, I'm going to try to adjust this. It doesn't look like... I feel like you're not seeing everything. No, that's worse, isn't it? Okay, let's do that then. How about that? Oh, that might be better. Okay. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. I wanted to show you some fun new things. This I'm not sure about. I'm still working on this one. Love this one. I want to show you two techniques. Please shout out if you're out there watching so I know I'm not sitting up here all by myself. I wanted to show you guys something new that's in the new annual catalog. Oh, before I forget, you still have a few more days where if you want that extra $25 in hostess benefits, you know, get your friends together, place a $250 order, and you'll get $50 in free product. That only goes through the 14th of this month, so make sure you take advantage of that. Okay, hey Glenda. Okay, so I wanted to show you this, the soft pastels assortment. When I started with Stampin' Up well, I've been a demonstrator for almost 20, but I've been stamping for probably about 22, 23. One of my very first purchases from Stampin' Up, even though I said when I was invited to the party, I'm not buying anything, I did, was their pastels. So they got rid of them quite a few years ago, and they brought these back. And I was so excited to see, you can see I was playing. I was so excited to see that because I love the different ways that you can color and have, you know, things tools, I call them. So if you didn't notice them, they are on page 126 of the annual catalog, and they're only $9, and they come with 8 different colors. And these are much sturdier than the old pastels that we used to have. I don't know, do you guys remember those? Hey Debbie, hey Linda. They came in little square. I got rid of mine a long time ago, but they came in little squares and they broke really easy. These are pretty heavy duty. When I started playing with them, I realized that they were a little different than the old pastels. So I'm going to show you one way, a very old way to use them. And I'm going to use this fun suite. Now, I had my team meeting yesterday, and this is a suite called You're a Peach. And I used the paper and the stamp set yesterday. So I am going to show that. So some of the gals that were at the meeting yesterday, if you're out there, like Debbie, you'll see this again. But I wanted to show different ways to do the peaches. So, and I thought I'll just show that again because a lot of people don't know to do that. So let's get started. So I'm going to show you the very first technique. So again, I'm going to use the Sweet as a Peach stamp set. Let me grab my supplies. So I'll show you the card. It's super pretty and super easy to make. So this is the Pale Papaya. That is one of the new in colors. And of course, this is part of the suite, the suite I just showed you with the peaches. And this is some of the paper. So of course it's double-sided. And I love polka dots, of course. So I thought, we're going to do some polka dots. So I'm just going to put together the card base real quick. And then show you how to do that fun coloring with the peaches. It's super easy. And it's kind of a duh moment. Like when you do it, you go, oh my gosh. Yeah, why haven't I done that before? Because this is a technique you'll be able to use on lots of stamp sets. Like if you have birds and you want different colors on the birds in a solid stamp, you'll be able to do that. So you'll be able to use it for a lot. So I'm just kind of framing it out there. and that's just going to be the base. What I like to do with like insides is because when I cut this paper, I always have like little strips left over. So I like to decorate the inside if I remember, which I don't always because I'm in a hurry and I'm a procrastinator. Excuse my voice. So we're going to put this on the inside, but then it uses up all those little scraps of paper that you have from cutting your designer series paper. So that's what I like to do with that, because they usually cut them at 4 and then you have the 4. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside because it's the base, obviously. And you know what? I might not have brought all my supplies here. Let me see. Oh, here we go. I might have to not cut a piece of paper. So how we did this yesterday is, let me get that out of the way so I can put that a little further up there. Hey, Penny. So you're going to use 3 different kinds of inks. You're going to use Pear Pizzazz, and I chose colors that were out of the Sweets DSP. So Pale Papaya and then Calypso Coral. So the first thing you're going to do is what I did. Some people do it backwards or the other way. I guess it's not really backwards. So I'm going to take the leaves and the stems of the peach and use the Pear Pizzazz. And I'm just going to kind of angle it across the piece. And this is a stitched rectangle that I cut out ahead of time. Okay. And you can see this is one of those distinctive stamps. It has one of those, it kind of looks like a photograph almost. So you do that. Let's get this out of my way before I put my fingers in it. And then I'm going to take the double peach and I am going to stamp that in the papaya, the pale papaya. You know, when we were in Hawaii, I bought some like cut up papaya from the grocery store there, and it wasn't very good. So I don't know if I got old papaya. So now I'm taking Calypso Coral, and I'm taking a sponge dauber, and I'm just gonna sponge the edges of the peaches to give them a little bit more dimension. And again, this is a distinctive stamp where it's like, it's more real or lifelike, I guess is the word you want to use. But this is a good one to add a little dimension to. So I am going to give it a little huff just to make sure it stays moist for myself. And then I'm going to line it up with these stems. So you can see I'm kind of turning it. And then we're going to give it a good. And there you go. So you have different colored, like they're ripening, if that makes sense. All right. And then we're going to make this a birthday card. So I'm going to go back to the Calypso Coral just because I like my words to be a little bit darker. And I'm going to stamp that toward the bottom. And then I used a different ribbon on this yesterday, and I didn't cut my piece of Pear Pizzazz. So all I'm gonna do is, and this ribbon was just sitting on my desk, and I thought, I'm just gonna use that. So let's see, we'll cut it down a little bit, save some of it. Because this is the Pale Papaya ribbon out of the In Colors. So instead of putting that piece around it, I'm just gonna tie it off. You know, you improvise when you realize, oh, I don't have all the pieces to make what I thought I was going to make. So this card will be a little different than my original, which is fine. Okay, and I'm just knotting it. And we'll just trim it a little bit to make sure they kind of fit with what they need. Okay. Hey, Christy. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who has sent me cards about my dog. If you're not on my personal page, I don't know if you saw that my one dog we did have to put him down, and it was super sad. And I've gotten quite a few sympathy cards, and you guys, I really appreciate that. So sweet, because he was a good boy. I know it was a game for some of you to come pick up stuff at my house. He was the one that was always barking at you, because he was the security czar. So those are the champagne rhinestones. Okay, so, and again, that's a little different from what I did because I don't have that other piece, but that's okay, right? Like, it's handmade. It doesn't have to be, I'm reaching for my dimensionals because I do like to pop them up. And then we're going to do another card. So that's pretty easy, right? I mean, and with this big of a piece of a paper, I always put at least 6 dimensionals because I don't want it to collapse in the middle for whoever I send it to. So just keep that in mind when you're putting on, you know, bigger pieces. You don't want it to start to fall apart and look sloppy. And that's why I put those in the middle there. So then we're just gonna layer that. I think that looks okay without the border piece, doesn't it? So this is my original and this is this. So a little different ribbon, different but beautiful, right? So that's how you can get that second color in there, just by using your sponge dauber, okay? So that's one way. So let me show you how to use this set with the pastels. Okay. Hocus Pocus. So we're going to kind of do the same, not the same card, but I'm going to use the same stamp set. So you do need Versamark. There's many ways to use these pastels. Sorry, I've got to reach over here and grab. There's many ways to use these pastels. This is like the oldest way in the book. Like I said, when I started, that was my first purchase, was the pastels. And this technique was called poppin' pastels. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna bring it back. And if you have the old pastels, you can use the old pastels or buy the new pastels. The old pastels were a little bit more expensive because they had a lot of colors, but you can see here there's 8 colors here, and I just love them. So let's see, there are Coastal Cabana, which would be that color. And there's Daffodil Delight, which would be that color. Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody, Night of Navy, and Poppy Parade. I know you guys probably didn't even see that in there, right? So when I was playing with it, like I said, I realized they were a little different than the old pastels. They're much harder. They come in where they're cushioned so they don't break, because they will eventually break. But these are actually really tough compared to the last ones. And so I was trying to do this technique like I knew how to do it from the old days. And I couldn't do it that way because these pastels are too hard compared to what we did so in the past. So I just have a little scrap piece of paper that I'm using as like a palette. And I'm taking the pastel and I'm just gonna scribble color, because I'm going to pick it up with a sponge dauber later, but it's almost like there's a coating on there that I'm trying to break away. So we're going to do that one, and we're going to do this one. Oh, thanks, Diana. Yeah, it was tough. It was quick, and we just had to make the decision. He wasn't doing good. And even when we brought him into the vet, she said his gums were very pale, and he wasn't eating anymore, and he was just kind of throwing up nothing, you know, twice a day. And that was almost for a week straight. So we were like, we don't want to make him suffer anymore. So we miss him. And I might cry, sorry. Okay, so Versamark. We don't use it that often. And if you don't know what it is actually a watermark. So what it will do is, what I always recommend for beginning stampers, you know, we have 50 colors, right? Of these beautiful different colors. How do I decide? I can't buy all 50 colors. So how do I decide? So usually what I will tell people, if they ask me, is to buy the Versamark and a black pad, because those are pretty basic. So let me show you in case you've never seen Versamark before. Okay, so this is Poppy Parade. And say you don't have any other ink, okay, other than black, but you don't want it to be black. You want it to be kind of a tone on tone. So let me grab, let's see, I'm going to grab a stamp that you can see what I mean. So it's kind of this pad has been well used, so it's ugly. Usually they're bright white, or not bright white, but they're white. So it's sticky ink. And like I said, it's kind of a watermark ink, and I'm just giving it nice even pressure, and it sits on top of the paper, so it's not a dye ink. And so I don't know, can you guys see that? As it dries, I'll see if I can put it a little higher. As it dries, that will darken, so you'll be able to see the color come out of the paper. So it's actually taking the color of the paper and giving it the ink it needs. So, or giving it the color it needs, I should say. So like I said, as that dries, it will get much darker. And this is a great stamp, or a great ink, like if you just wanted to create a little bit of a background. So like this little stamp here, if I just wanted to create a background to give some dimension to my piece that I was using, that's what I would do. Can you see that? Where there are little splotches. So then whatever you're going to use on top of that, it's just like a background. So if you don't have Versamark, I highly recommend it for this. And you also use it for heat embossing. So I'm sure you probably have some in your craft room and you haven't used it in a while. So, okay, so let's go back to what we're going to do. So I'm going to take Versamark, and this is the bigger peach. And actually, you know what? I think I'm going to stamp with real ink first. So let me close that up, and we're going to come back with Poppy Parade, because then I'll know where I want my pastels to go. So I'm going to need this first. So I'm just going to, and again, this is Poppy Parade. So I'm just going to do right in the corner. Perfect. And then I'm going to do this one in the top of the corner. It says you're as sweet as a peach, right? Okay, now we're going to close this up. Once we're done with that. Did I get on my fingers? Probably. Okay, so you probably, as you watch me do this, you probably will not see this because, again, it picks up the color of the paper. So you're just going to see kind of a shiny against the white. But make sure you get it nice and pressed in there. Could you kind of hear it pull away from the paper? That's a good sign. And then I'm going to take these leaves. I'm just really making sure I have enough ink for this. And this is probably the hardest part because I can't really see where the peach is. So, okay, I think I'm good. I don't think I hit the peach. I might have hit it a little bit. But anyways, okay. So now I'm going to take some sponge daubers. Don't use the sponge dauber. Like this one's the sponge dauber we just used for the other card where, you know, we inked up along here because that is ink. All right, we don't want to mix our ink with our chalks. So you can tell there's a big difference there, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is take my sponge dauber and go to this is the Poppy Parade, and I'm going to hit it where my peach is. This, you know what this reminded me when I was playing with it before, is I thought, this is like when you were a kid and you had that disappearing ink, and all of a sudden it's appearing. Isn't that pretty? You do not have to set this in any way because once it's pressed into the Versamark, it's there. It's going to hold. I know you're probably seeing a little bit of crumbles, and that's fine. We're going to get rid of those crumbles in a second. So now I'm going to go to the Granny Apple Green to do, like I said, this is a oldie but goodie technique. Do any of you guys still have your pastels from years and years and years ago? And if you do you ever use them? I'm curious about that. Did you notice these pastels in the new catalog? We were talking at my team meeting yesterday about tools. You know, like to me, this is a tool and this is really good to have. So I'm just going to hit off that excess. Make sure I get everything off of it. So you'll see there is a little bit of fuzziness around it. That's how it should be. I mean, that's when you're using the chalks like that, that's how it is. But if I do this, it's not coming off. So it's fine that way. What I might do is just go back over it with my dauber to make sure I've captured all the ink and I've covered up all the Versamark that was on the paper, because you want to make sure you don't just have Versamark hanging out there. And then I'm going to do that one more with my leaves. Okay. All right. So that is called Poppin' Pastels, because the color pops up at you when you've put that Versamark on there. So let's make a card from this. I'm not crazy about the card that I made, so maybe you guys can give me some suggestions. I'm going to put this away before I drop it and I go spilling everywhere, because you know I will. And remember, you guys, with your Versamarks, store them upside down, especially these, because they're so thick. You want to keep that ink coming to the top of the paper. So I was playing with the peach paper again, thinking I needed to kind of do something with that again. So this is the Poppy Parade though. And I think I'm going to use, oops, let's get rid of this. We don't need that, do we? We're done stamping. So I was trying to think of what embellishment I want to use on this. And let me show you the card that I did make, which I'm not crazy about. And I think it might be the colors. I think this card I'm going to like a little better, because, you know, I'm a brights girl and I love the brightness of the Poppy Parade. So this was the card I made, but I think it might be the green that I'm not crazy about. And these kind of reminded me of like dew in the morning. Oops, I just rubbed that right off. I was trying to move it and I guess I moved it without the, let's see, oops, awkward. It reminded me of dew in the morning and like thinking about a peach orchard, but I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's the color. So let's finish putting this together and we'll see if it's if it's more appealing. So here's the inside of our card. And because of the way I cut the paper, I don't have like any extra, but I suppose I could do a little bit of stamping on the inside, maybe. Maybe take, I'm winging this because I didn't know what to do with it. I wanted to show you the technique and then I was like, what do I do with what we just made? Let's see. Let's go back to our Poppy Parade. And I have this little starburst thingy. So I think maybe we'll do this in the corners. Yeah. All right. That might work. And then I'm not going to use the green side, I don't think, right? Even though these colors might not totally be the colors with the Poppy Parade. Should I do the flower side and then this? Or should I do the green side and this? I'm gonna let you guys vote. Tell me. I'm waiting. I know there's a delay, so I'm waiting. Hi, Kathy. So do it this way with the green. I think you might be right, because this looks a little like I didn't do a very good job color matching. And that looks like a tomato when I do it that way. But when I do it that way, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to do green too. Okay. And then I'm going to add some of those little teardrops. So yeah, so when you use the pastels, and I will do a class on it down the road. Not sure when I'll do that, but if you buy the pastels from me tonight, if you go place an order off of this hostess code, I'll give you a discount on the class. And we'll do 3 different techniques that you can use the pastels for. So, because you can use them with the blending brushes, you use them with the sponge daubers, you use them with blender pens too. I know that sounds weird, but you do. That's how we used them years and years ago. Okay, so then I'm gonna come back here and try not to pull the adhesive off, and I'll put some of these little raindroppy thingies. And, oh, I'm crooked. That's okay. It's hand stamped. And there you go. So those are 2 pretty simple cards. And you can see that, like on my original one that I did, see how much lighter it is? I really put color into that. I really started putting color into it. So this is probably more peachy, where this is probably a little bit more orangey. So you can keep layering more and more colors. Again, you can see how bright that is versus that. So you would just keep, layering that color on there to make it a little bit darker. But those are 2 techniques to make our little peaches come out. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if you go out and place an order for those pastels tonight, when I have that class coming up in the next, I'm gonna guess sometime next month, maybe. I don't know, could be August. I will give you a discount on the class, because that will be part of the class, is getting the pastels as well, but I'll give you a discount on it. So there you go, you guys. Thank you very much for joining me for a little bit this evening, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, and happy stamping.